There's a million of those who won't let us be, but they're not gonna see me bleed. Cause baby, I got you. I've been beaten to the ground, dragged across the dirt. I've been scared to live cause some people never learn. But they're not gonna watch me burn. Cause baby, I got you. It's a new beginnings and a better life. It's the dancing underneath the disco lights. They can try but they can never take me down. Ooh, cause I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid to love, not afraid to love you. I'm not afraid,
everybody, and welcome to this episode of Keeping It Real with the Hombre. We're doing some agave talk. We're talking tequila and stuff. We're just gonna have some fun on Friday. Sorry I wasn't able to do this yesterday. Things got a little crazy around the tequila world recently, and we're going to discuss that a little bit, talk about it, give you some perspective, and we'll go from there. But first of all, did you guys see the review yesterday that I posted for the La Luna Ancestral Paradas X Patria Mezcal? I know people go mezcal. I have to do a voice here. Hold on.
Mezcal. Ooh, that's smoky, and all I'm going to get smoke, and I don't like the taste of smoke because mezcal is just really smoky.
That's not true. Not all mezcal is smoky. Just the ones that aren't produced right are smoky. And so, but it is a different flavor profile than tequila. It's going to be different. It's going to be elevated. It's going to be original. It's going to be different. And that's one of the things that's kind of nice about it is instead of getting the regular Weber Blue Agave flavor that you get from every other tequila out there, you get something a little different, something a little exciting. And this is really good. It's not smoky at all. I don't get smoke on this at all, but it's different flavor profile than what you're going to be used to. And so it may take you some time to get acclimated to a different flavor profile. So just understand that and go into it not thinking it's going to taste like tequila, because it's not. Okay, it's going to taste like what an old school tequila tasted like, not the stuff that's made now with steam and industrial, bland type tequila that's on the market now. This is going to be more flavorful, and it's got a lot of different flavors and stuff to it. So if you want to know what tequila tasted like back in the day when they were making it in the small distilleries in the backyard, where like the great grandparents of the Camarenas or all the other the Sousas or the Cuervo families, when they were first making it back when it was called mezcal, vino de mezcal de tequila, this is the stuff you got to try. All right. And then what happens basically too is once you try this and you get used to the flavor profile, you expand your palate, and then you get to try like a bunch of different other things and really go to Flavor Town instead of just, with the, I have to say it's bland. The bland flavor profiles of tequila today. It's blander today than it was back then, because there's a lot of different flavors in it. And so steam, when cooking with steam, it doesn't add any more characteristics and stuff to it like this does when it's cooked with heat from molten volcanic rock. They use wood as the source of energy for this. So this is old school. This is really old school. So you're going to taste what tequila tasted like back before it got industrialized, back when it was made in backyards by a lot of these families that are making it now, back when it was called Vino de Mezcal de Tequila, which means wine of the mezcal de tequila, because mezcal just means it just basically means cooked agave. And so, and a lot of people don't understand this too. They have this preconceived notion with the word mezcal. When you go to tequila, if you ever go to tequila or you ever go to the tequila producing Jalisco, tequila producing region, and you talk to agaveros and stuff, they refer to their field as mezcals. They refer to them as mezcals, the plants. The old school guys do. And so Vino de Mezcal means wine of the mezcal de tequila, from tequila region, from the tequila area. So that's where it came from. So tequila is a mezcal. So not all mezcals are smoky. Okay, just some that are produced, in a manner that's not the best that it should be, can be overly smoky, and so you have to watch out for those. Those are sometimes the cheap ones that you find in the stores. You want to focus on the mezcals that are made right. Now, this would be a good way of getting into mezcal, and one of the things that I recommend is, and we can do this together. We can do a tasting together and talk about it. Okay, but I can help you and guide you into some other agave spirits and stuff after this that you could try and expand your palate, to expand what's available to you and what would be acceptable to you flavor wise. So we can get into some really cool things. And this is what happened to me. Okay, let me tell you my story. When I first was into tequila, I picked up a bottle of Zakaru at Bevmo, and I was like, oh, for $25, what the heck, right? And I tried it, and I swear it tasted like a burnt rubber tire. It tasted like if a semi-truck tire caught on fire and poured it in a glass. That's what it tasted like. And I had a mentor back then. His name's Drew Garrison. He was a good friend of mine. But I said to him, I go, dude, this mezcal stuff's crap. It tastes like burnt tires. He goes, no, you're tasting the wrong stuff. And he acted as a mentor for me and kind of worked with me and taught me about mezcals and guided me towards ones to try that were not as smoky and were done right. And after I kind of got a taste for it and got acclimated to it, I really do enjoy good mezcals. I do. And there's some smoke flavor and stuff that will come in them, but you don't even taste it after a while. So a good example, a good way to reference this is like when you were young and you first tried your first beer or your first coffee, right? The first thing you went was, ugh, God, this is gross. How can people drink this? Blah, blah, blah. But then after a while, you kind of acquired a taste for it. Right now, beer's yummy, right? I love coffee. I could never drink dark black coffee before. I always had to smother it in chocolate or something like that because of the flavor. But now, because I've expanded my palate, every morning I have black coffee. I have black coffee in the morning. I have espresso. I have double espresso. I have strong black coffee, and I love it. I love the flavors that I get from it. And it's because I've developed a palate for it. And so that's kind of the same thing here. So the flavor profile may not be something that you're used to. Some people like it right off the bat, but it may not be something you're used to, but you're going to have to kind of develop your palate a little bit with it, okay? It's going to be different than what you're used to from tequila. So give it a chance, okay? And we'll work together. I'll work with you. I'm here to help to get you to really understand and enjoy what a real agave spirit is like, one that's cooked the way it was done back in the old days. And then it really opens up the possibilities for tequila and stuff, especially one like this, where you'll go like, wow, this got a beautiful flavor profile. I sat with this last night. You can see how far down the bottle is. It was up to here. Now, keep in mind too, this is 50.1% alcohol. So you can't drink too much of it in a night, unless you want to be somewhat comatose. I like to remain somewhat sober. So I did drink quite a bit and was feeling nicely buzzed from it. But I was really enjoying the flavors and stuff that I was getting from it, just sitting and enjoying it. And of course I had a good stogie with it too. So both of them were matching up very nicely. And I was really enjoying the extra flavors and different experience that I was getting from this. And that's one of the things I want to kind of encourage you guys to try and to get involved in and to expand your palates and really enjoy what other agave spirits can entice you and deliver for you. So if those of you that pick up this bottle, it's now available. Was put up on Ferment and Still this afternoon, so it's available now. It wasn't available until this afternoon. Some people placed orders for some of the old stuff, which is a really nice one too. This one just went up just like literally like a half an hour ago, and so it's now available for pre-order. They're going to be shipping around April 15th. We're waiting for the orders to come in from the distributor. This is an exclusive to Ferment and Still. You're not going to be able to find this anyplace else, so don't bother looking for it in any other stores. We bought the whole batch. It's going directly to Ferment and Still. And I'll work with you guys here, and we can do a live stream or whatever, but I'll work with you and help you and guide you through this and, answer questions. If you message me on Instagram or whatever, a lot of you guys do that already. I'm always here to help. And you message me, let me know what you think, or let me know what you're finding out, and then we can guide you through how to get through it and build your palate up so you can learn to enjoy something like this. It's going to be different. It's going to be different. It's going to be lots more flavors than what you're used to. Right? So that's one of the exciting things for me is I love it when I get a different experience at different flavors. And that's one of the reasons why I give, tequilas that I come across, 5 agave. Is it going to be something that's giving a different experience to me, or is it like just every other well-produced tequila out there? And so that's one of the things I look for. And this is going to give you guys a different experience and really elevate your palates. And I'm excited about that for you. So we're in this together. So let's visit in with some of our subscribers first and say hi. And then we'll get into some other subjects that we need to talk about. Cheers, Mark, and everyone. Hey, Tater Dom. Bienvenido, welcome. Glad you can make it. Hey, Howard Garrett. Bienvenido, welcome. John Mendo. How you doing, buddy? Hola. Bienvenido, welcome. Hey, Rip Murdoch. Right now you're at work. Either be sipping Wild Common Blanco. Okay, well, I'm sipping on this beautiful ancestral tequila mezcal thing, which is beautiful. Great review. Well, thank you, John. I'm glad you enjoyed the review. It was lots of information in there, and I gave you lots of information talked about the processes and stuff that are used in this. It's really old school, so it's a lot of fun. And the cool thing about the other batch that's on there, the Temporada, was they used a hollowed out tree trunk as a still, and that was really cool for that one. So back then it's like they didn't have stainless steel. They weren't making stainless steel stills and stuff. They used the clay pot, and then they would take like a tree trunk. So what they did for that old batch, the Temporada batch that's on there now, which is still delicious. If you haven't picked up a bottle, you should get both of them together, because that one's got pomegranate in it, a little extra fruit, which is kind of really nice. But what they did with that is when they crushed it and they fermented the fibers, they put them in a clay pot, and then they put a hollowed out tree trunk on top of it. And then they put this pan on top of it, a copper pan that had a little spigot on it, and they put cold water in there, and so that would act as the worm. It would cool the vapors, and then it would drain out the worm at the top of this small tree trunk. It was really cool. So that's a cool one. So if you guys haven't picked that one up, take a look at that one too. It's the La Luna batch as well. Also very good. Brian says, what stopped you from being the Mezcal Hombre when there's so much more variety with Mezcal? Well, as the Tequila Hombre, I can still do Mezcal, because tequila is a Mezcal. But no, the Tequila Hombre, I started with tequila, and I grew my palate to love Mezcal and other agave spirits like Raicilla and stuff too. So I started with tequila and preferred tequila originally. And I've grown. And so that's one of the reasons, that's one of the things I want to do with you guys, help you grow so you can sample and be able to enjoy some of these other agave spirits and stuff that are out there without being turned off about it and making generalizations. Okay. So, hey, sip, savor, and celebrate. Bienvenido, welcome. Glad you could make it. How about some recommendations on what you consider to be good mezcal? I'm in Canada and the pickings are slim. There's a bunch of good brands out there, but look at some of my videos. Look at the Mezcal Monday videos, and you can see some stuff there that I recommend. I'm looking for the flavors. I can't do smoke. There's not even smoke flavor to it, but it's going to be different. Different than what you are normally used to. So don't worry about the smoke. There's no smoke on this. What's up? Hey, what's up, Raul? Bienvenido, welcome. Glad you can make it, buddy. Most of the mezcals I have are smoke bomb. Well, you're picking the wrong ones, and there's a lot of bad ones out there. There's a lot of wrong ones out there. Okay, and a lot of them are available at your Bevmo and your Total Wine, and they're 40% alcohol by volume, and they're cheap, and that's not necessarily going to lead you towards a good mezcal. So make sure you got to find the ones that are made right, and you won't even pick up smoke on them. So, but if you pick up like the Del Maguey Vita, that's meant to add smoke to margaritas and stuff. That's meant for cocktails, and so that's extra smoky. And people can sip it if they don't mind the smoke, but that one's super smoky. So if you picked up the Vita, which is readily available, it's everywhere. That's going to be a smoke bomb, and that's a wrong one to start with. That's not one that you want to play with. Yes, mezcal in cocktails is amazing. Exactly. Yeah, you can do mezcal mules, mezcal margaritas, all kinds of things. Hey, El Mexico, bienvenido, welcome. Glad you can make it. This particular mezcal doesn't have smoke in it. But it has a different flavor profile than what people are used to in tequila. So understand that. Go into it. It's not going to taste like Cascoine. It's not going to taste like G4. It's not going to taste like El Tesoro. It's going to taste different. It's going to have different flavors. And if you notice, things that I said in the review, I said like leather. It's a nice earthy leatherness in it. It's going to have tropical fruit flavors like banana, and it's going to have tart citrus like grapefruit in it. So it's a lot of different flavors than what you're used to hearing being announced when people are talking about tequila. Okay, so understand that and go into it with an open mind. And then if you do that, you're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good time, and we're going to expand your palate. So you're going to be enjoying some really nice mezcals and tequilas and agave spirits in general. Yeah, you have the Vita and the Monte Lobos, right? Yeah, the Vita is super smoky, man. Oof, yikes. That one's so smoky. I don't even like that one. It's so smoky. Monte Lobos is not a very good quality mezcal. You won't see me buying Monte Lobos. So those are the ones that are cheap that you can find in the stores. They're everywhere. Those are not really good quality. So I would avoid those personally. But I'll guide you to some ones that are really good. We have some good ones up on Ferment and Still. If you haven't tried the Vago one that we have, it's amazing. And it's got these beautiful, really ripe berry flavors that come through on it, where it gives you a bubble gum kind of flavor, which is kind of cool. I love that one a lot. That one's really good. But that one doesn't use Weber Blue Agave. So this is the ancestral tequila style mezcal, where that one's it's called an ensemble, so it has multiple different types of agave in it. But it's also really good. Old Hombre, Old Faith, San Matias at the moment. Oh, nice. San Matias is good stuff. All right, so there's some big stuff that happened this week, and I want to talk about this a little bit, even though I try not to talk about other people and their problems, but this is kind of a big deal, and I want to square some things away on it. If you guys haven't heard, the offices of Tequila Matchmaker or Tequila Match were raided by government officials, and they confiscated and seized their office, home, or whatever it is, and a bunch of equipment and stuff. They were running a home distilling operation out of their house, doing projects or whatever, but home distillation in Mexico is illegal. It's illegal. You can't do it. Now, a lot of people online have been saying that this was a CRT hit job, that the CRT is just going after him because of the additive-free stuff, and so on. And I tend to disagree with that. And we can go over that here. We'll go over that here, and I'll tell you why. So what happens is, with Tequila Match and what Grover and Scarlett were doing, they were, pretty public. Now I'm going to tell you a story. This story is about myself. Before I got into tequila and stuff, I was a national champion home brewer, and I used to live in an apartment complex that had a deck in the backyard, and I used to brew beer on the deck of my backyard and brew lots, because I started a club, and the club was a homebrew club, and we all brewed, and we were getting ready for a festival. And so I was out on the deck brewing beer and making beer. And of course, because I started this homebrew club and grew it, we had 125 members. I was very public about it. I did social media posts and stuff about it. And I had a lot of people that knew what I was doing. And then I did all the brewing outdoors on a second deck of an apartment complex where people got to see it all the time. And so I was out there always brewing, and everybody knew around that I was a home brewer and what I was doing, and because I was very public about it. Now, there are rules and regulations in California at the time. I believe it was, I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. It's been a while since I looked at the rules and regulations for home brewing. But I believe that the regulations state that you can not have more than 100 gallons, or is it 120 gallons? I think it's 120 gallons of beer per person over drinking age in your facility, without it being considered a brewery and needing a license. And you can get in big trouble if you had more. So I always made sure I stayed below the the legal limit. And so if I needed to brew another batch, because I had one batch that was okay, I would dump a batch out to make another batch if I was getting close to that 100 and I think it was 120 gallon limit. So I used to brew a lot on the patio. I used to see the police helicopter flying by in the area in Southern California and hovering over a little bit. And so I was like, I don't know what they're doing. They were, looking to see what I was doing or whatever. But because I was high profile, I was, people knew who I was. I was considered the beer man back then. That's one of the reasons why we did Tequila Hombre. I was the beer man. That was my nickname. And people used to walk by and go, "Hey, beer man, what are you making?" I used to tell them, they used to come up, used to give them free beer. We used to sit around and drink beer and talk. Well, one day I had a knock at my door, and it was the ATF and the ABC, Alcoholic Beverage Control for California. And they knocked on the door and said, "We're here to do a spot inspection. We'd like to see, what you're doing out there and what you have on your premises." And so, of course, I wasn't going to tell them, "Hey, F you guys, go get a search warrant." I wouldn't do that. I'm like, "Oh, sure, come in." But I knew the laws. I knew the rules. I knew what could happen if I didn't do it. And I knew that, if I was going to go over, I was going to need to apply for a brewery license and get a license to become a brewery, because that was the next step. If you exceeded the 120 gallons. If you exceeded 120 gallons, you needed to get a license. Otherwise, you'd be in big trouble. So the ATF and the ABC came in. I took them out backyard. I showed them my kegs. I used to put all the beer in 5-gallon Cornelius kegs, which are kegs they used to use for soda syrup. And I had a tap system in the back that I used to tap beers on. And so they came back and they counted every single one of the, and they weighed them, counted them, make sure that I wasn't anywhere near or over the 120 gallon limit. And I wasn't. I came in at 90 gallons. I told them, I said, I predict I probably have like 85, 90 gallons. And so they went through everything. They said, "Yeah, we have 90 gallons. And I go, "Well, this is going to go to a brew festival next week where we're giving it all away. Anyways, at a homebrew festival, we're pouring it for other home brewers and sharing our wares and stuff." And they go, "Oh, that's really cool. Okay, great." And so everything was good. I stayed legal. I didn't get in trouble. I didn't get arrested. They didn't take my stuff because I followed the law. All right. So coming back to the story of what happened here, Grover was distilling in his house and doing his Lotecito batches. And he's very public about it. Posted it on Instagram. There's posts of it on Facebook, if you Google Lotecito tequila, you'll see a lot of stuff on there. Influencers talking about the rarest tequila in the world and doing a tasting thing of it. Other people talking about the Lotecito tequila, which means he's giving it out to people. A bottle of Lotecito tequila with the label on it and all this stuff on it. So that's stepping into a boatload of trouble. That's asking for trouble, considering too that you're a very vocal person, fighting or bringing attention to yourself from the CRT as well as the government of Mexico because of what he was doing. And so he got busted. Now, from what people that I've talked to, I know I've talked to one person who said they warned him and said to him, "You're going to get in trouble. You can't do that. You should come and do it under my distillery license. So do it at my distillery under my license. And that way you can do this legally and not have to worry about getting in trouble." And he did not take that offer or that advice that was issued to him. And that was told to me by somebody in contact I have in Mexico. So he got in trouble. He made a big deal about it. He blasted it, had influencers talking about it, all kinds of things that brought extra attention to him. Now, and there's people out there that are going, "Yeah, it's just the CRT picking on him." It's like, look, he brought this onto himself by being so public about it. If you're running an illegal still in your house, which, here in the United States, it's illegal. It's illegal to distill here in the United States. It's legal to distill in just about every country in the world that I'm aware of, except for New Zealand. New Zealand does allow home distilling. There's 4 states in the U.S. that allow it, but federal law trumps that, because in federal law they still do not allow home distilling. There's been bills and stuff that have been proposed to try to legalize home distilling, but all of them have failed so far. Now, when I learned about distilling, to get more information that I could give to you guys about tequila distillation, and so when I go to the distilleries in Mexico and talk to them, I have a friend who had a brewery here that had a distillation license. They had a license to make vodka. And so I went to their distillery, and we did practice batches there at the brewery on their column still. And I learned about distillation, and he taught me a lot of things and stuff before I go to Mexico and then talk to the big master distillers as well. But the whole idea is, if you're going to be doing that at home legally, which I do not recommend you do, unless you're looking for trouble, you don't blast it on social media, and you don't share your juice with influencers and have them talk about how great it is and refer to it as Lotecito tequila. If you do, you're going to get in trouble. So this is what happened. This is what we're looking at. They're not making an example out of him. He was doing something illegal and got caught because he made it widely available and made himself a target. That's what happened. Now, personally, I would have taken the invitation from another producer to go do it at their distillery and said, okay, yes, let's keep things legal, because I'm starting a fight with somebody, and because I'm doing that, I don't want to bring extra attention to myself and cause problems. So let's not do that. Let's go and do it at your distillery and keep things legal. That's the number one advice that I can give to anybody here, is if you're going to be doing something that's going to bring attention to yourself, make sure everything else you're doing that can be inspected by somebody, that can be looked up, that can be checked on social media, is within the scope of the law. If not, you're asking for trouble. That's what I would say. All right, so what is it? You got me hooked on a good tequila, and now I'll follow your guidelines to try mezcal. Oh, nice. I'll be working with you on it too, so don't worry. Oh, Hombre, Old Faithful 17. Okay, we did that. Would the new Luna be good? Yes, it would be a great first mezcal. It would be a great first mezcal, absolutely. You've given some great tequila advice. I'm giving mezcal another chance with La Luna. My history has been too earthy. Okay, well, we'll work with you on that, Barry. Don't worry. Sounds like Grover is the real. What is the real? I don't know what that means. I don't know, Hombre. Time will tell. Okay, we'll see. How did Nosotros tequila end up being considered additive free? The repo tastes like Clase Azul. There's no way it doesn't. I don't know. I don't get into the additive free stuff. That, you know. We are now up to 8 states. I haven't heard 8 states where it's legal. I heard Missouri. Oh, here it is. Alaska, Arizona, Missouri, Michigan, Ohio, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and how did you hear that? I haven't heard that. Iowa has no laws. Well, there's federal law, of course. In federal law, it's home distillation is illegal federally. I have La Luna Espendencio. Just the leathery finish is what gets me. Yeah, well, that's kind of a different one too. So it's a different mezcal altogether. It's not Weber Blue Agave. Wow, just came in on a hot discussion. Yes, we're having a hot discussion here, and it's about Grover and him stepping into a pile, so to say, by making tequila. Now, you know, if you guys haven't done, I mean, I can do this right now and show you guys. It's kind of crazy. Everybody's beeping in on me. Hold on. So, You Google Lotacita tequila, and then there's all kinds of stuff in here about this Lotacita tequila. We have pictures of bottles with labels that, of course, makes it look like a fake tequila. We have even the front and back label photos. And back label photos with production details on social media. And then we have the world's rarest tequila. Instagram or TikTok post, the world's rarest tequila, Lotacito, okay? 15 minutes of Lotacito, a project inspired during the... So, there's lots of stuff here that are no good. And even like Lotacito production details with the cooked agaves and everything. So, you're going to do this stuff. You don't open yourself up to getting in trouble by giving it away to people that are going to highly publicize it and by publicizing yourself. So, which really feels like the situation in Mexico. Home distillation is widespread, but people don't crow about it on social media and make a big show of it. Yeah, and I haven't seen proof of home distillation being widespread. I mean, I hear people saying that, but I go to Mexico twice a year, and I don't see people with stills in their homes when I'm hanging out there. And matter of fact, they're not doing it in Jalisco because, you know, the whole. Remember, I don't know if you guys have, like, followed the history of agave spirits and stuff in Mexico. Things like raicilla, you know, they were doing in their backyard and hiding from the tax man, you know, so they were trying to sell it in jugs by the side of the road to avoid paying taxes and avoiding the authorities, right? They're just trying to make some money by doing it, but if they were caught, it was bad. It was bad for them if they were caught. They were killed in some instances. They like Soto itself, when they were doing Soto along the areas of Soto in Mexico, it was outlawed by I think Pancho Villa outlawed it, where if you were caught making distilling your own Soto in your backyard or in your house or whatever, you were put to death. You were killed, and they burned your house down with the still and everything. So there's a big history about not distilling at home in Mexico, and especially now that you have the CRT, which the CRT isn't a government agency. They're an agency that regulates tequila, but they do it for the government. There's the tax agency and the Mexican government that takes the taxes and stuff, but the CRT is an industry-run organization that is there to protect the DO of tequila and protect the name tequila. So there's certain regulations that are required when making a tequila. There's certain laboratory tests that have to be done, measurements and stuff that they do to check for certain things in the tequila to make sure it's safe for consumption. Otherwise, there's public safety issues. And if you've ever known anything about running a still, there's public safety issues with running a still as well, where vapor leaks can cause explosions, and things have to be done correctly to maintain safety. Like here in the United States, like in California, you can run a still for making ethanol fuel. You can get a fuel license. But to do that, you have to have a separate shelter away from your house to do it, a separate domicile. And then it also has to be like 100 yards away from the closest house around you. So if something happens and it blows up, it's you that dies and you're not killing your neighbors and stuff. So there's all kinds of regulations and stuff that follow this. So home distillation here in the US is highly frowned upon and illegal federally. There's some states that are allowing it, but they're like, hey, but if the feds decide they want to come in on you, they're going to do it. So you got to be careful about that stuff. And if you're doing it, don't blast it on social media. Don't give it away to influencers to talk about it. And don't make yourself a target. Don't make yourself a target. That's the key. And he did. He was warned. I was told he was warned by a producer that said, don't do this. You're looking for trouble. It's illegal what you're doing, and you're going to get in trouble. So come do it under my distillation license. And he didn't do it. He was warned. So I don't feel sorry for him. He was warned. If I did it and I was arrested and I was busted or raided, it's because I asked for it. It's because I didn't follow the rules. I didn't follow the law, and I made myself a target. Of course, I'm out here all the time on YouTube and Instagram and all over social media. I would never run a still in my place here. I would never run a still and talk about it because it's illegal. It's illegal. All right, so B-Bum says, it really feels like the situation makes a home distillation is widespread, but people... Yeah, okay, we did that one already. When you do make a big social show of it, the regulatory agencies kind of can't... Exactly. You can't ignore it. It's like everyone's going to be going, hey, even I'm sure the other distilleries are like, this guy's making tequila out of his house. What's up? We have to buy a license. This guy's making it out of his house. Look, it's called Lotecita. They can look it up on Google. And if they don't do anything about it, people are going to assume it's okay and start making their own tequilas out of their house. Right? At least they didn't put tequila on the label. Yeah, they didn't put tequila on the label, which is good. But when people refer to it as Lotecita tequila, the rarest tequila in the world, and talk about their processes and what they're doing in their home through influencers, his buddies that have hundreds, maybe thousands of viewers, it's not good. And what's going to come from it is not good. It's like if anybody else was to do something and get caught, they'd get busted too. What is your take on the Bozal? Bozal lineup's good. They have different producers that make the Bozal lineup, the mezcals. They're really good. Some of them are really good. One of the ones I really like, and if you get to try it, it's the Cenizo, because the Cenizo for Bozal was sourced from the guys that do Burrito Fiestero. So they make the Cenizo for them. And you can actually get the Cenizo directly from Burrito Fiestero too. They have their bottles of it too. But that one's really good. So they source it from some really good mezcaleros. They don't make it all themselves. It's not like there's a Bozal Palenque. They source it from different mezcaleros from all over. So yeah, they have some good ones. Hey Mark, there's a certain brand of agave spirit at Ferment and Still that's got a steam cooked Salmiana spirit that might be great for someone looking for something not smoky. Would that be your agave spirit, Darian? You want to say the name of it and talk about it? Because it is really good. I really enjoyed it. Why don't you want to give a quick thing about your brand, Darian? Darian's a good friend of mine. I've known him for a long time. He's brought a couple of mezcal, our mezcal brand in with a couple of different mezcals on it, and we helped him out by carrying it on Ferment and Still. He sent me a couple bottles and I reviewed it, and I even had him on for a live stream. If you haven't looked at it, but it's really good stuff. I enjoyed it. The only reason why I'm doing this with Darian with him is because it's Weber Blue Agave, and it's an ancestral tequila, basically, that's has the mezcal name because it was certified through the CRM. He said maybe he'll mention it. It is de Matachinas. So it's really good. So if you guys want to try one of those two, it's actually steam cooked. They don't use wood fired stuff. He has two Salmiana expressions from San Luis Potosi. Yeah, Potosi. Yeah. So those are good. So you can check those out too if you want to check them out. There seems to be a lot of confusion about legality of home distillation in Mexico. Well, only by people here in the United States that don't know the laws. The people in Mexico know. They don't know. We don't distill in our houses. They know that. One of my spirits is steam cooked salmiana distilled in copper, very similar to a traditional tequila production. There you go. Yeah, so there's been a lot to talk about, and you'll see people trying to get money for Grover to help cover his legal fees. I don't know why anybody would do that. If somebody is doing something illegal and gets caught, they get caught. He had to have known what he was doing is legal. He was told. He had to know. So I don't know what was going through his mind to make him think that it was okay and he could get away with it. I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking. Sometimes, we don't know what anybody's thinking. But Darian, you haven't tried it yet? It's been up how long? It was like a year and a half ago, Darian, that you came on and we did the live stream. It's been on ferment and still for a long time, for a while. Thanks for leading a discussion of this hot topic today. I'm sure a lot of us have different opinions, but glad the word is getting out there. Yes, you're welcome. Yeah, it's... I felt, I was watching a lot of the stuff that was being said about it on social media and how it was a hit job by the CRT and that they're just coming after him because, Jose Cuervo was behind it and... there was all these things that are being said and grifting going on, trying to get people to donate to pay for his legal expenses. But look, I'm gonna break it to you truthfully, okay? Cuervo's not behind this. And in all reality, and I'm just gonna be blatantly blunt with you, okay? Cuervo doesn't give a about additive-free. They don't give a flying. They're making so much money off their tequila, they could care less about additive-free. And if they wanted to get involved in additive-free, they can just buy somebody. That's how big Proximo is. They can just buy somebody. Matter of fact, they invested in Lalo Tequila. We invested in their Series A funding. So they own stock in Lalo Tequila. They don't care. They're not behind this. The CRT, yeah, they ratted him out because all this attention was brought to him. They were bringing attention to themselves. But the CRT is not an enforcement agency. They don't go and issue warrants and do searches and stuff. They just tell the government, hey, this is what these guys are doing. And then the government does all the research and puts the files together. And they're not just going to go run into somebody's house and start tearing, confiscating stuff without some proof first. And all they had to do was Google Lo Tecita Tequila, which I'm sure somebody out there in the tequila world was reporting to the CRT going, look, these guys are doing this. What's up? We have to pay for a license. We have to have you guys come and inspect stuff. But they're doing this. So what's going to happen? What's the CRT going to say? Yeah, okay, we got to do something about this. Right? Their hands are tied. They can't just turn the other eye and turn their head and look away. They need to do enforcement. They need to do things legally just like everybody else if they're going to do that. No home support at all. Okay. Yeah, Cuervo will continue to make money regardless. Exactly. Cuervo doesn't care. The big guys, they don't care. The additive-free thing doesn't bother them. As a matter of fact, most of the industry doesn't care about it. There's just a small group of consumers that care about the additive-free thing. Most of the industry, they've got other things that they're worried about. Sustainability. Can they keep growing agave and make it affordable so they can still produce tequila? That's one of the main concerns they have. Diversity in agave plants. You know, is something going to happen like what happened in the 70s and before that when the fungus wiped out the agave crop and they had to go to Los Altos, they had to go to Arandas to plant Ihuelos to make sure that they weren't attacked by the fungus that was tearing up the valley. They're worried about that, biodiversity. They're worried about paying their employees, right? Making money, allowing the humidors to make money and being able to get enough money to pay them so they can feed their families, paying their workers at the distilleries, not losing jobs to diffusers. Those are the big issues that the tequila world is worried about. They don't care about additives. Why? Because the additives in our tequila, you guys consume every single day in something that you eat. There's nothing in there that's going to kill you or hurt you. It's most of the time, this stuff is already in there from being wood aged in vanilla. And I went through this before with the additive thing. Nobody cares. It's not that big of a deal. Now, I personally don't like my tequila adulterated and added stuff to it. And you can tell when you taste it if it's been adulterated. But what happens is everybody's turned this into a villain thing. And the tequila match thing turned into a cult, and it turned into like a mafia group where I used to get producers, even ones that make good quality products, message me going, what the hell's going on? And I'm like, what? And they're like, I get people that message me every day saying, do you use additives? And when I say, no, of course we don't, then they're like, well, why aren't you on Tequila Matchmaker additive-free list? He said, because I don't want to be. I don't recognize them as being a certification agency for tequila, which they're not. They're not. As a matter of fact, you can't even 100% confirm and verify that there's additives in something or not. Grover told me that himself. He told me they look for glycerin, and if there's no glycerin, then they pretty much assume that there's nothing else, because most of the time if they're using something else, they're using glycerin. Which is not true. They could use any of the other additives without using glycerin. They test for artificial sweeteners, but none of them use artificial sweeteners. If they're going to sweeten it, they're going to use agave nectar. They're going to use glycerin, because glycerin's a natural sweetener anyways. They're not going to put saccharin or anything else in there. So what he was doing was really just making himself, drawing attention to himself, making himself a nuisance. And if you're going to be a nuisance, don't be doing something illegal or you're asking for it. I know. There's times where I've been a nuisance. And when I do that, I make sure I'm staying within the legal limits of what I'm supposed to and what I'm allowed to do. I want to protect my family. I want to protect my house. I want to protect my livelihood. I want to be here to be able to do stuff for you guys and help you guys and learn more so I can give you guys more information. I don't want to be jailed. I don't want my house being raided and my stuff being taken away, because the government here in the United States has the power to do it too. And if you don't believe it, try crossing the ABC or the ATF and see what happens. Those are two agencies you don't want to mess with. Just like the agencies that raided the Tequila Matchmaker offices. So, the funniest was someone claiming Patron was behind it. Yeah, Patron helped start TM. Yeah. Patron's not behind it. Cuervo's not. None of the big guys are behind it. And it's not a hit job from the CRT. It was a, I almost want to say nuisance. I'm sure it was a nuisance from other people in the industry complaining about seeing it. because he brought a lot of attention to himself. And when you do that, you got to make sure you're infallible. You got to make sure you're following the rules. No wonder I saw Lalo at a small restaurant. Yeah, Lalo's all over the place. You're going to see Lalo everywhere because Lalo is become. They're doing a lot of the same stuff that Patron did. I have places telling me here, stores that they're giving them free tequila if they put it up on the shelf and carry it. They got free tequila. They're buying shelf space. So you'll see it everywhere. It's in grocery stores here now, which Stater Brothers grocery store has it here in Southern California. And it's like, that's the only good tequila they have because they worked out a deal to get the shelf space. They paid for it. So you're seeing it all over the place. But Proximo is an investor, which Proximo is the company that Cuervo company. It's the Proximo Spirits is the one that is Jose Cuervo, and it's the Beckman family that owns them. And it was the Beckmans that invested in Lalo tequila. Came in late, but read your post earlier. What does this portend for future of TMM? I don't know. I know they seized all their computer equipment from what this is just from what I've heard. They seized their entire office, their house, their computer equipment. I believe someone told me the app is no longer working. I don't use the app. I stopped using it a while ago after I had issues with the reliability of the content on it. And so I quit using it. But the website I know is still working, I believe. And I think that's what Grover's using to try to get people to donate to help defend his illegal activities. But that's all. I don't know what will happen because of that. But if I was smart, if I was Grover, I would probably try to do stuff that wouldn't upset anybody. Maybe stop doing the additive-free stuff since they asked him several times not to and talked to him about it, and he refused to listen because he wanted to fight with them. And maybe just focus on doing information in the app about production and getting that information correct, because there's a lot of information on the app that's incorrect. And when I had brought it to his attention and said, Grover, this information's wrong, he would say things like close enough or oh well, and then when I said, well, what are we supposed to do about this, the information that's in there that's incorrect, he would say, well, this is a community project, so I expect, community members to correct it. And it's like, well, I sent you information to try to correct it, and you said that it was incorrect, or I told you it was incorrect, and you said it was close enough. So, but you didn't correct it. But it obviously was bad enough that the master tequileros or master distillers corrected me on it when I used that information for my video. So I don't know what's going to happen with them. But there's a lesson to be learned here, and I hope that people learn it. I hope people don't just think it's a hit job and understand what really is going on here, because it's not a hit job. So TMM is running without Grover, so I don't think I don't know. It may not be running without Grover. There's no one in their office is doing anything. The website's running. But we'll see. We'll see how much longer that stays. Because literally, once you do something, I don't know if you knew this, but it's like if you do something illegal in your house, they can seize your house. They can take everything. Because a crime was committed in it. It became their property when you do a crime in it. They can take they can take everything. And when you're an American in a different country, I'm not sure what the rights are and stuff and what they can do to people that are of a different nationality in the country and not a citizen. I don't know if he was a citizen or not. I don't know if he had. I know he does have a house in Florida, but I don't know if he's considered a Mexican resident or if he comes back to the U.S. so often to maintain his U.S. citizenship. But I do remember a story where in Baja California, the Mexican government went in and seized a bunch of houses that Americans had purchased along the coast in Baja. Just took them from them. Said, sorry, you can't own property here in Baja. And they took their houses. And they built multi-million-dollar houses up in land there in Baja. I remember that. That was probably 10 years ago, I think, when they raided that. And they took the houses away from Americans and confiscated them. And the Americans were like, you can't do that. And they go, well, we're in our country. We can do whatever you want. And it's true. They know what they're capable of doing. Doesn't seem like he was very passionate about the project. Oh, you mean about the app? I think he was more focused on the additive-free thing than he was on the app and making sure that the content of the app was right, because that generated revenue for him. He was starting to make money off of the additive-free program. So, for TMM, it looked like Fortaleza, El Tequileno, El Tesoro, Ocho, etc. seemed to support or adhere to TMM and Grover. Are the producers supportive or not of the whole additive-free effort by Grover? No, most of the people that I deal with are not supportive of it. There are some that were participating in the program because they felt they had to. They felt like they were forced to. But when you talk to them offline, you talk to them privately, they were like, we don't want to do this. But if we don't, people keep bothering us saying, if we're not additive free, how come we're not with Grover and with the TMM additive free initiative? And they were getting harassed. They were getting phone calls. They were getting harassed. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think they should be harassing people. If they don't want to participate in the program, they don't have to. But because they vilified additives and made it so it's like, a weapon, it really divided the industry. It caused problems in the industry in general. I know several producers that I deal with, that I talk to and I work with a lot. I know they don't use additives because I go into their distillery and I taste stuff right out of the barrel. I mean, I'm there and they're like, hey, you guys want to come see we use additive? Come visit the distillery. You guys can go visit. I do it. I take videos and I tell you guys. But all the time they have people like, oh, they used additives in this. Sure, there's additives in this. Hell, I even had one guy posted a review on TMM that said that an additive-free tequila tastes like it had additives to them. They use additives as a weapon. They're using it as a weapon. It's not going to kill you. It's not bad for you. It makes the tequila sweet. But vegetable glycerin is something that you look at the ingredients on stuff in your pantry at your house and around your house. Vegetable glycerin's in a lot of things that you eat every day. Same with vanilla flavoring extract. Same with caramel extract. Those are the ones that are primarily used. And sometimes they even use agave nectar, like Siempre, you know, back when they were doing this stuff out of the candy factory, the 1438, that uses a lot of additives, makes a lot of sweet tequila because people like it, people buy it. They were using agave nectar, agave aguamel. They were using agave juice in it. Nothing wrong with that. It's not going to kill you. Makes it sweet for those that like sweet tequila, but it ain't going to kill you. It ain't going to hurt you. But TMM was effective at vilifying the additive things and driving people to form this army, this mafia of people that would drive people to them and get them to pay the $1,000 to be additive free, which he would test for only certain additives, because you can't test for all of them because you can't detect them. So is there tequila that's on the additive free list that has that? Absolutely there is. Yeah, there is. I've heard of a couple. And they tested it to see if they could get through it, and they did. And they told me they did it. But I'm not going to say who they are because I swore I wouldn't. But they wanted to prove that the program was not 100% accurate, and they did by being on it. But there's great distilleries out there like Casa San Matias, 1480 that makes great tequilas. There's a bunch of places out there that make a lot of great tequilas that are accused of being using additives in tequilas that they make that have no additives in them. So how do you know? Well, taste it. If it tastes like a natural tequila, it doesn't have additives. If it's sweet or over the top caramel, over the top vanilla, it smells like a cake, you know, chances are it's got additives. But there's other things that smell like for the El Tequilino, right? They're Cristalino. They don't use additives in that. I sat and talked with Tony. I did a review for that on his roof of his hotel in Tequila with the tequila volcano behind me. He doesn't use additives in it, but you can smell vanilla and caramel coming through in it because that's what's left in it after they simple pass the charcoal filter through it. And some of the molecules that were left were the ones that the vanillin and the sugars and stuff from the wood that were caramelized when they aged it. So you'll get some vanilla and caramel. You get like a vanilla cake like aroma from it, but he doesn't use additives and refused to. He didn't even want to make the Cristalino if it wasn't for his co-owner Wayne wanting to do it, telling him that he had to do it. And if you watch that review, we went over that. He's really cool. Actually, if you watch the interview I did with him on Happy Hour with the Hombre, you can hear him talk. We talked about the Cristalino. For TMM, it looked like Fortaleza. Okay, we already did that. Okay, what's this? The tequila subreddit would be butthurt. Well, the tequila subreddit and I don't get along very well because they don't like the truth. And from what I hear too, I live rent-free in their heads. I have several people that were actually Mexican, people from Mexico that were tequila industry people that were kicked out because they went and posted stuff about things that I talked about, and they were accused of being me and were kicked out. So I guess accused of putting fake accounts up and going in and posting stuff in subreddit, which those of you that know me know I'm so busy with my Discord and with all the other projects and stuff, and I don't have time to deal with subreddit. It's a cesspool of misinformation. I don't deal with it. So when people can hide behind fake names and just say all kinds of garbage stuff and don't get held accountable for it, it's not the kind of place I want to be in. I'm too old for that. Maybe back when I was 12 or 13 years old, that would be great. But yeah, they probably would be butt hurt in the subreddit, and I'm sure there's some people on social media that would be upset that I'm saying this to, but you look at it and that's what's happening. Now, I don't have any hate for Grover. Grover and I were friends when we started. I have no hate for him. I don't agree with some of the stuff he does. I don't agree with some of the stuff on how he does things. Especially when it comes to the correcting stuff on his app and what he's doing with the additive-free program. There was other ways I would have recommended, and I recommended that we approach things where if you're concerned about additives, then break it down to verifiable things. Let them put things on the label, and I'm sure they could. I'm sure if a brand was really concerned about additives, instead of just buying a sticker and putting a sticker on this is additive-free, which is an all-encompassing term. Additive-free is all-encompassing. It covers everything, right? Get specific. Put on your label, no added glycerin. No added sweeteners. Okay, those are the two main things that they put in them, right? And those are verifiable. So a brand would be able to put those on the label because it's verifiable. They can do a lab test and they can see and show this lab sample, no glycerin in it at all. This no artificial sweeteners in it showed up at all on the lab test. Verifiable. You can do that. So that cuts two of the additives out, right? In vanilla flavoring and caramel flavoring, you're going to know it's in there when you taste it because it's going to be over the top. The flavorings they put in there are so strong, it's going to be a vanilla bomb, which like we've tried in 1942 by Don Julio. It's a vanilla bomb. You know they're putting a vanilla flavoring in it. Same with Clase Azul, right? Vanilla bomb. Vanilla and caramel bomb. Sweet. You know they're putting additives in it. It's obvious. They don't have to tell you. It's obvious. So by putting stuff like that on the label, instead of doing an all-encompassing term additive-free, they could have worked with the CRT to say, can brands do this? And the CRT probably said, yeah. And that's the thing, too. It's like people make the CRT out to be a bad organization. They're really not. They're a regulatory agency. They're protecting tequila. They're protecting a spirit that we love. That's their job. And when you go to Mexico, if you've been to Mexico like I do, I go quite often. I go 2-3 times a year. Spend a week at a time. And when I'm at distilleries, whether it's like El Mexicano or El Pendillo, or matter of fact, last time that I was at El Pendillo, I was went in, and Alan and Luis took me around, showed me some different things that they did. Felipe was in a meeting in the office, so he was busy. But they were just like, hey, let's go around, let's show you some stuff we had. They had a new shredder, and they did all kinds of stuff. And so we were talking. And then they went into the lab, and the CRT guy was there. And so they introduced me to the CRT guy. We were talking to him with the boys, the son, Felipe's sons. And then we started tasting some of the stuff. They have this big, 5-gallon jug that they mix all these batches and stuff. I tried that and tried a bunch of different things. And we sat and talked. And I was talking to the CRT guy. He's a really nice guy. And he was really passionate about tequila and loved his work that he does. And he's there all the time at El Pendillo, working with them when they're producing. I went to El Mexicano and sat with the Benuelos and met their CRT guy. They say, hey, he's our CRT guy. And I'm like, oh, nice to meet you. And then talked to him for a while. He's a very passionate person, loves tequila, loves protecting it. And it's like, loves working with great master distillers and stuff like the Benuelos family. So they're not bad people. They're not this bad organization. They're only bad. It's like they're only bad when you're doing something bad. Then they're coming after you. That's their job. When you're doing something that affects the industry and is misrepresenting things to consumers, because their whole deal with them is consumer safety. Believe it or not, their whole job is to protect you. And people say, "Oh, they ignore," but their job is to protect you. Their job is to make sure that tequila that comes across is safe for consumption. It meets the guidelines. And like one of the guys earlier sent me a thing of the distillation stuff from Mexico. And there's a lot of rules in there as to, you can't have more than this particles per million or whatever that are tested in the lab to make sure that the tequila is safe for you during production. That's their job. They're not the evil organization. They're only evil when you're doing something you're not supposed to be and they need to come down on you. That's when they're evil. If they catch you putting espadín in your tequila, like one brand was caught doing and busted for, that's more serious than additives. If they're using espadín, they're using a different agave in your tequila than Weber Blue. That's something they need to come down on. But those tequilas have a market, and the people clubbing it, they'll drink. There's people that like it, and if they like it, let them drink it. That's one thing too that the whole additive-free thing did, is it created adversity or just snobbery, outright rudeness and stuff in social media groups where people are blasting people because they posted a bottle of Glass Azul. They posted, say, hey, I like it. And then people are like, oh, that's good. It's gross. Barf emojis. And it's like, look, they didn't ask you to drink it. They didn't ask you what you thought about it. So we have a strict rule in my Facebook group, Tequila 101, or Tequila University, sorry. Tequila University is my group. And we have a strict rule in there where if nobody asks for your opinion, don't give it. It's especially if it's negative. You can always say great, nice, oh, I love that brand or whatever. That's great. Saying positive stuff's great. But if no one asks you what do you think of it and for your opinion, don't give any negative opinions. If you do, you're going to be removed from a group. I have a lot of people that hate me because of that, because they feel like no matter where I go, I'm allowed to express my opinions no matter what. And that's not the case in my group. So I've kicked a lot of people out that were nasty and rude to other people that posted a bottle of Glass Azul or whatever. Because when you're nasty and rude to people, you put them on the defensive. And when you put them on the defensive, they're not going to listen to you. When they're not going to listen to you, they're not going to learn. And we call it Tequila University because it's a learning group. So we're there to teach. We're there to help. The whole group's there. Everyone's a teacher there. Everyone's allowed to help. But only if somebody asks for it. If somebody says, hey, I love this brand, you say, great, enjoy it, salute. Or you can, if you put it nicely, oh, if you love that brand, here, you should try this one. This one here is natural. It doesn't have that sweet vanilla and caramel flavor that's over the top in that. Instead, it's more of a natural flavor where they don't add stuff to it. You should try this one and tell us what you think. And when you do that, they're like, oh, yeah, let's try that. That sounds interesting. That sounds really good. Instead of putting people on the defensive and alienating people. You don't want to do that. We want to bring people into the fold. Not judging anyone, but that enjoys class. Yeah, exactly. If they enjoy it, let them drink it. These hombre perspective, I'm glad you enjoy it. And really, all it basically is, it's being a mature adult. That's all I'm basically doing. I'm just being a mature adult. Treat people like you like to be treated. You want to help people. You don't go up to somebody that needs help and you don't say to them first, hey, you're a idiot. You're stupid for doing that. Now let me help you. Now I'm going to help you. You know what they're going to say? They're going to go, you. You can go yourself. That's what they're going to say. But if you go, hey, look, it looks like you're having problems there. Can I help you? Is there something I can help you with? It's like, yeah, I'm. And then you're like, okay, yeah, let me help you. Let's do this. I walk around the stores a lot of times, and there's some people that don't know who I am when I'm walking on a liquor store, but I'll walk on a liquor store looking at things, and I'll see somebody looking at something, and I'll go, and I'll see them like pulling something like maybe Class Azul or something like that out. And I go, oh, have you had that Class Azul before? And they're like, yeah. I go, what did you think of it? And they go, yeah, it's good. It's really smooth. And I go, by smooth though, I mean, do you think it's like sweet? And they go, yeah, it's sweet, but it's really smooth. And I go, okay. I said, well, you know, they put like additives in that to make it smooth, right? They go, they do? Yeah, like vegetable glycerin and caramel flavoring and vanilla flavoring in it to make it taste that way. And they go, really? Yeah. Have you ever tried a real authentic tequila to see what that's like? Because that's not what it tastes like. Have you ever tried a really good authentic tequila? And they go, oh, I tried this. Yeah, that one's not a good. Can I recommend it, like a really good one for you to try? You can get your Class Azul too, but try this one, and then here, I'll give you my email address or whatever. Let me know what you think when you try it. And they go, okay, all right, yeah, let's do that. So I sat one time in a liquor store and sold 12 bottles of G4. 12 bottles, standing in the aisle, just sold them, people. Because one person goes, oh, that one's like an authentic. Yeah. And then they're like, well, I'll take one of those too. And literally, people were coming up and grabbing the bottles off the shelf while I was there in the aisle, and we ended up selling out all the G4 Reposado that they had on the shelf, just from trying to help somebody and asking them questions, right, and finding out what they're looking for, and helping them with, you know, what they don't know. And that's the kind of person you need to be. That's the kind of people you need to be if you want to help people, if you want to be considered a nice person. Now, one of the reasons why I'm hated by a lot of the older people out there is because I don't like people telling me what I can and can't do. I've never been that way. And for those of you that know, like the guy mentioned Reddit, I'm accused of making money off of ferment and still. I curate all the stuff that goes on to ferment and still, because that was the agreement I have with the partners that run it. Do I make some money off of it? Sure, I make a little. So what? Every other influencer out there has got reciprocal affiliate programs with any other liquor stores out there, whether it's Sip Agave, Sip Tequila, Old Town Tequila, or whatever things they got their deals with. The difference with ferment and still is that they only carry stuff that I verify is good and consider good. None of the other sweet stuff's on there. And I guarantee you that if you buy anything off of ferment and still, it's going to be a good quality, well-produced mezcal or tequila, including my friend Darian's products that are on there as well. We formed that store to help the industry, to help producers, by helping them by buying inventory from them, buying product from them. Now, could I have gone the option of saying, hey, just pay me $250 a video like some of these other guys do, and done that? Sure. But I don't want to do that. I don't want the brands paying me to do reviews, because then I can't be completely honest. And a lot of the brands out there appreciate my honesty and the fact that I'm honest in my reviews and give them my honest feedback. But I do it in a constructive manner, and even went out and flown out on my own expense to work on creating a flavor profile for one brand. We bought the whole batch. That's the Carrera 54. So I talk about how great Carrera 54 is because I helped make it. I helped with the flavor profile, and I fell in love with it. So yeah. And because we wanted to help Carrera, because they wanted to do this for me and for us, the Tequila Barrel and Agave Collective, my group, we bought the whole batch. 195 cases of tequila. 195 cases. What other influencer out there do you think has ever bought 195 cases of anything? So my goal is not only to help you guys, but also help the producers. When I find something really good, like this La Luna batch that I'm telling you guys about, if I didn't like this, I wouldn't be buying the whole batch. I didn't decide to buy it until after the review. They sent me the bottle to say, hey, see what you think. And let us know. And here, I want to show you proof. And so I seem to need to prove here. Let me make sure it's the right one first. Hold on. Hold on. Let me mute it and make sure I don't want to hear something you're not supposed to. Hold on. All right. Well, there's some stuff on that message that I can't make public, but Salvador Chavez, who's a friend of mine who owns La Luna, says to me, I'll send you a bottle. I want you to try it and see what you think. And if you like it, would you be willing to buy the whole batch and commit to the whole batch? So that was the message, basically. And he was working out some deals, what he was going to do with the distributor and stuff. And so what I basically do, with my job for Ferment Still is to find stuff like this, find out who distributes it. Then I notify Ferment Still and say, hey, okay, guys, I like this tequila. Buy some cases of it. This is the distributor. Let me know, that you got it and what the price is going to be, and then I'll blast it. And they put it up on the website. And that's what we do. That's what I do. So I do a lot of work. I do a lot of things in finding stuff and getting samples from the brands. Brands will send me samples to do reviews. They want honest reviews. And a lot of times they'll message me and say, hey, so what did you think? And I'll tell them. And sometimes it's not good. You've seen some of the reviews where I've said no. And so sometimes they come back to me and they go, well, we understand you didn't like it. What can we do to improve it? And sometimes I'll fly out and meet with them, and we'll go over some things that we can do to try to make it better. So it's about giving back and stuff. It's about helping. Because I'm a believer that if you help people and you give without expecting something in return, it'll come back to you. Now, the Tequila Barrel and Agave Collective is something I started 6 years ago, I think. When I first started it, it was free. I didn't have the Discord membership. It was free. I had probably 1,000 people signed up for it. Only 20 people actually bought stuff from it. And then a lot of people would complain that they weren't getting emails when I was talking about this stuff. And I spent $15,000 the first year of my own money running that program. I spent $30,000 over the first 2 years running that program before I said I need to do a Discord membership and try to recuperate some of this. But then also by doing the membership, I make sure that people that are there are serious. Because if they're forking out $10 a month, I know they're serious and they want to get involved in some of these projects. There was a lot of people that were in the group that were from liquor stores and stuff that were just trying to see what kind of special buys I was doing and trying to get them themselves. Because I have the brands coming back to me going, I had 13 people call me today saying they want to do the same thing that you're doing with this program. Oh, by the way, that's Pasha, the Pasha the party poodle behind me that just walked by. What is she? Oh, she's sleeping on the floor now. She's right over here. She's still recuperating from our party last night. So everything that I do has got good intentions. I'm here to help. And I do need to make some money. So I'm sorry if that offends or hurts people. But I've got bills to pay, and I got things that I need to cover with equipment and everything else like that. So, but I'm all about giving you guys the truth and helping you in selecting better spirits, getting you information so you know what the deal is. That's basically it. It is a legitimate business deal. There's nothing weird about it, but people seem to have this thing, and so I get a lot of hate because people think that I'm making millions of dollars and stuff off of it, which I'm not. Where do I make most of my money? Off of YouTube and off the TBAC, the Tequila Barrel and Agave Collective memberships. And what do I do with that money? I buy plane tickets to go to Mexico to do pick out new batches and work on new programs, new things for the collective. It goes right back into covering all this stuff. I know that additives won't hurt me, but I want to know whether a tequila includes them before I buy a new bottle of tequila. I hope that continues to be a list of additive-free tequila. Well, I'm going to break some bad news to you, Scott. Every single bottle of tequila out there, except Blancos, have additives. Every single one, every single aged spirit you drink has got additives in it. So if you're worried about additives and don't want any additives in your tequila, drink Blanco. It's your best chances. Or don't drink tequila. But anytime you put a tequila in a barrel, you're getting whatever liquor's in there, so that's an additive. You're getting vanillin in there, which is vanilla extract, which is additive. Caramelized sugars from the barrel being charred, toasted. It's caramel flavoring. Oak notes. That's oak extract. Same thing as oak extracted additives. There's nothing that anybody's adding that you're not already getting except from vegetable glycerin, which vegetable glycerin is perfectly healthy to consume. You want to know what's in all of your tequila that you drink, Scott? Contact the TTB and get in on the legislation to have ingredients added to every bottle here in the United States. Leave the tequila industry alone. Because they don't care. And when they don't care, the best thing for you to do is either say, okay, I'll deal with it, or quit drinking tequila. I mean, that's basically the plain truth. Or just stick with the brands that don't use additives. Like El Pendillo, everything from El Pendillo, no additives. So only buy El Pendillo products, right? No one's forcing you to go look at other distilleries and what they're producing. No one's forcing you to drink something from someplace else. You want to support the brands that are doing it right, then keep buying G4 and keep buying Don Vicente and all the other stuff that El Pendillo makes. And support Felipe and what he's doing. Or support Guillermo and what he's doing. Or support Tony, Saez, and El Tequileño and what they're doing. We all know what distilleries don't use additives. Just stick with those. No one's forcing you to go look at other distilleries and what they're doing and trying their tequila and needing to know whether they have additives or not. That's your decision. You don't want additives? Go to Ferment and Still. Pick any bottle off there. There's no additives in any of them. Verified. verified by me, which is just as accurate as anything that Grover's verifying. How about that? Now the additives are awesome. Will you discontinue the no additive bomb? No, absolutely not. I never said they're awesome. I guarantee that none of the tequilas and fermentants still use additives. I just said they're not going to kill you. If people want to drink them, that's fine. Natural occurring additives are okay. CRT can define additives, which can help you set a standard. They've defined additives, but a lot of the additives that they're adding into it are stuff that's already in there. That's the problem. See, that's the thing that a lot of people don't get. That's the reason why it's unverifiable and undetectable, because it's already in there. They're just adding more. Vanilla extract. It's vanillin. It's already in the wood. They make vanilla extract from wood pulp. It's the cheapest source. It's already in there. You can't detect whether it's been added because it's already in there. I don't know how many times I can say that. Sure, glycerin, you can say glycerin, yeah, and artificial sweeteners, but no one's adding that stuff in there anyways. Artificial sweeteners are expensive. Cane sugar's cheap, but you can test to see if cane sugar's been added easily and verify it. So say no sugar added. You can put that on the label because it's verifiable. The problem is everybody says additives, no additives. Put on the label no added sugar, because the CRT has stated as long as you can verify it through lab results, you can put it on the label. No added sugar. They can verify there's no added sugar in there just by evaporating it off and seeing that there's no sugar. Easy. No vegetable glycerin. No vegetable glycerin either. By evaporating it off and seeing what's in the pan. I did that in my pan additive test. But vanillin, vanilla flavoring, that's in the wood. You're getting it anyways. They're just putting a little more in it to make it a little more tasty for you. The stuff they're putting is a little stronger, so it gets over the top, but people like it, and they're going to keep drinking it. It's not going to kill you because it's in your chocolate chip cookies that you're eating anyways. Same with caramel flavoring. It's from the sugars in the wood being caramelized during toasting and charring. It's there already. That's why you can taste vanilla and caramel notes in the tequila, even when it's naturally done. And based on how much it was in the wood that they aged it in, it increases, the level can be higher and lower in some tequilas depending on the barrel. That's why some barrels and stuff are better than others. It's already in there. So for anybody to say no added vanilla flavoring and no added caramel flavoring, there's no way to prove that because it's already in there. Unverifiable. Vegetable glycerin, yeah. Artificial flavor, artificial sweeteners, yeah. Saccharin or whatever, yeah. You can tell. They can be tested, but you can just put that on the label. No vegetable glycerin, no artificial sweeteners, and the CRT would allow it. But the question is, are we going to see any brands that care enough to put that on the label for you or not? Go bother the brands and say, hey, I want to know you're not putting any glycerin in there. Put it on your label. It's verifiable. The CRT would approve it. Because the CRT stepped on the whole additive thing and said, look, it needs to be verifiable. Anything that goes on the label needs to be verifiable and be able to be shown in lab tests. So break it down. See, the whole idea here is instead of being so much engaged in wanting to fight with the CRT on the additive thing, listen to what they're saying. Try to understand what they're saying. It's a communication thing. Listen to what they're saying. They're saying, look, we can't use additives because it's not verifiable. Okay, so what's verifiable? Can we use no glycerin? That's verifiable. Yes, you can use no glycerin. That's verifiable. And work with them like that instead of like, oh, well, if you don't do it yourself, blah 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 blah. I'm the king of additive-free, blah blah blah. Sending me money, blah blah blah. Instead of doing that, work with them. Ask them questions. Find out what you can do. And if you're really concerned with what the consumers want and what's, concerned about the consumers, go to the brands and say, hey, look, we should start adding this stuff to the labels. No glycerin added, because consumers are worried about it. No sugars added. No artificial sugars added. They put gluten-free on it, for God's sakes. There's no gluten in agave. But they let that go because it's verifiable. You can do a lab test and show that there's no gluten in it. What's stopping them from doing those other things? But G4 Añejo would have added. Well, it does have any type of aged spirit has additives in it because you're adding something to it by putting it in the wood. It's got additives. That's the issue with the word additives. It's a catchphrase. It's all encompassing. It's a generalization, and it's wrong. It's deceptive. It's like, oh, it's like, oh, look, this is my tequila. It's additive free, and it's like, no, it's not. It's brown. This is additive free. There's nothing added to this at all. This is right out of the still. This has got stuff from wood in it. Yeah, I didn't take it and douse it myself. But I put it in a barrel and got it out of a barrel. Or I put a stave in it and aged it with a stave. Well, those are natural occurring additives. Well, so it's okay if all my additives say natural additives, all natural additives on it? Because what do you think they're using? They're using natural additives. They're not using chemical additives. They're using natural. It's the cheapest stuff. There's guys, there's if they're using them coming out of like, whatchamacallit, organic distillery. They're using organic additives. Is there such thing? Yeah, Google organic additives, and you can purchase them yourself. Or organic flavorings. It's all natural stuff. Everyone thinks there's like scientifically manipulated, but you can get the flavors you need out of natural things. They come in nature. It's the natural flavors. They just identify and isolate the molecules that give those flavors. That's all. Sounds like the price of tequila could... Why would it be going up? I don't know why you think that. When is the new La Luna hitting? It's already on the site. People are buying it. It's already up there. It went up there this afternoon. Just opened a bottle of Tequila Grand Reserva Repo to sip while listening. It's got some heat to it, but it's like, yeah, it's good. The Grand Reserva Repo is good. I like everything that Tony does out of El Tequilino. Tony's a good friend of mine. And if you haven't watched the review, we had a good time with the Cristalina review on the roof of his hotel when I was in Tequila once, hanging out with him. And then we went and we had drinks afterwards at the hotel, and Guillermo showed up, and we were talking with Guillermo and hanging out with him as well, and he had some of his people from the distillery there and some friends and stuff. So yeah, it's fun. I love Tony. Tony's I need to message him because he's gonna be doing a single barrel thing, and I told him that I was interested in doing that for the collective. So I think the important thing to know is who's using diffusers than using additives and trying to make it taste like tequila made the old way. Well, there's something too that should be something people should be more concerned about. Everyone's focused on the additives thing, right? And made the additives the villain because some people can monetize that and use it to make money and generate income and stuff for themselves. But the real issue in the tequila world is who's buying diffused tequila. Because although your bottle has a nom on it, and the nom doesn't have a diffuser, it doesn't mean they're not buying it from another distillery, because it is allowed. They're allowed to do that. So they're allowed to buy tequila from another place, have it trucked over to them, bottle it at their facility, and put their nom on it, and sell you diffused tequila. So that should be something everyone's like more concerned about. I'd be more concerned about that, because diffuser tequila is nasty stuff. It's not good at all. That stuff give you a headache too. But if a brand wants to lower their costs and don't want to have to pay people to do it and stuff, they can, or a distillery, they can order diffuser tequila from one of the distilleries that has a diffuser for cheap, have it trucked over and bottle it, or blend it in with their stuff to make it cheaper, and do that. So that should be something that everyone's more concerned about, is transparency on where the tequila was, who actually produced the tequila, versus whether it has additives in it or not. Just my perspective. You can listen to it or not. You can call me BS or call me names or whatever you want to do. That's fine. I don't care. Don Fulano's great. Okay. All right, guys. Well, the conversation's been great. It's 3:45, so I've already been, almost 2 hours here. I hope this shed some light on some things for you guys, gave you some perspective. I'm always here willing to give perspective and shed details and light on things and help you guys. And yeah, you might not agree with my opinion. That's fine. It doesn't bother me. We're allowed to agree to disagree. And there's quite a few people on my YouTube channel that commented things that I commented back. We'll just have to agree to disagree. We can still be friends. You don't have to be nasty. We can still be friends and disagree. Do it all the time. The only time I have an issue is when you disagree with me in a manner that is just absolutely rude and inappropriate. That's when I have a problem. But if you disagree as a mature adult, I have no problem with that at all. So thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for asking great questions as usual. Always here to help. I'm going to try to change the time on this so I can actually enjoy something to drink while I'm talking with you guys. If you haven't watched the video on the La Luna, make sure you watch it. This batch is beautiful. It's the reason why we bought the whole thing. It is the best ancestral tequila type of spirit. It's a mezcal, but it's not an ancestral tequila. But it is an ancestral tequila style mezcal, and it's the best that I've had. Better than any ancestral tequila I've had. I recommend trying it, but just understand the flavor profile is going to be completely different than what you're used to in a regular tequila, okay? Go and approach it with an open mind, and if we need to work on it together, we will, all right? All right, guys. Have a great weekend. If it's here in Southern California, stay dry. It's supposed to rain. Spend time with your family and your loved ones. Time's a valuable thing. And enjoy some great agave spirits. All right, see you guys. Bye.